Hey everybody, welcome back to Admit One with gmoney. Today we have something that's been a long time coming. We finally have the founder and host of Rug Radio on the podcast. He's currently minting his PFP collab with Cory Van Lew, Faces of Web3. We felt like this would be a great time to have him talk about building a media empire and decentralized ecosystem within the ecosystem. Please welcome Farokh. Farokh, what's up, man?
Yo, what's up, G? How you doing?
How are you? Dude, so we're in the middle of the mint, right? So we'll get into that in a second. Because there's like a lot of things I really want to get into, but
we can get to that after. Thank you.
No, we'll get into it in a minute. Congratulations. You guys are fucking crushing it. I see it all over my timeline, and you know, Cory, like the artwork is incredible and he's awesome. I had the opportunity, I think it was like a year ago where I was in Miami. It was a year. I don't even know. All my dates are coming together. I think it was a year and a half ago where I went, you know, we had an awesome interview, and it was, you know, he showed me around his studio. I saw you were playing ping pong in there. I was in there before I think he had the ping pong.
Hi, you didn't get to play with him.
Yeah, but dude, you have some skills.
I played racket sports my whole life.
Okay, I mean, I played tennis growing up, but I still suck at ping pong. Like ping pong is like, yeah, I mean, it's like. It's just weird. I think it's just because the court is just too small. So like I can't get the spin on it that
big
quickly.
swings.
I'm used to like way big swings. So I guess because if you were playing racquetball, you probably had like quick little swings to kind of get things.
I was playing squash, so it was like different. It's like quick. And ping pong, I guess I picked it up in school as well.
Right. No, but that's awesome, and I want to get into that in 1 second. But first, I want to start off with a question. Because I see you always posting. So when you do your morning show, right? You have a Twitter space, and I'm doing this for purely selfish reasons because I'm trying to figure this out. And I'm sure a lot of people have the same question. So you go on the Twitter space, but then you have the video. One, how do you do that? And two, what has been your experience with that? Because like I'm like starting to toy with the idea of maybe doing like a once a week Twitter space with like a live video component. Like I can't do every day. Like God bless you for being able to do that. I personally can't do it. I just like am traveling so much that, and I know it, I see you sometimes too in like the video, like, you know, you're setting up your shop like in a hotel room because you're somewhere like in the world. One, how do you do that setup? And then two, what's been your experience with it? Because I'm sure you're very similar to me, and you're thinking of like you want to use the scale of the Twitter platform, but also have video content out there, right? Because video content is utilized everywhere else. And the reason why I'm asking is because you have a history in social media and you understand it really well. So I'm super curious as to what your thought process is behind it.
Yeah, I mean, for the double tapping on audio and video, it's actually simpler than you think. Like any app like StreamYard, for example, or like I use Restream, but I'm dumping it because I don't like it this much. So I'm going to try Remix or StreamYard. But it's just there's these certain apps that are certified that like get you to Restream everywhere. So I could like literally go live on Spaces and at the same time tap into like 50 different platforms. So I'm about to stop broadcasting video into Twitter because I don't like it. I'm going to broadcast video onto Twitch. And then the live onto Twitter, but it's not that hard. It's once you have the Roadcaster, mine is right here on the right. You can't see it, but you see the R on the Roadcaster, and then this is connected to my Roadcaster, and so take my cell phone and I connect it, and so my phone's going to be connected to the Roadcaster, and I do Spaces from here. So if the Spaces is connected to Roadcaster and Roadcaster is connected here to my computer, which has my webcam, I could literally broadcast you and I talking right now on Twitch, YouTube, and any platform at the same time. So basically the alpha is that the host has to have this connected to the Roadcaster. The Roadcaster has really become like the most essential part of everything. Then you pick I picked the Shure mic because I think it's the best mic. I think you have the same one.
I mean, I have it too. I think it was on your recommendation.
The MV7 is phenomenal. It's a great mic. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Yeah, you have the MV7. It's a sick one. It's the best mic.
Oh, yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
Because I saw you in Sobi's interview, so I was like, oh, they got the same. Okay. We all rock in with the Shure. By the way, Shure, like it's time you sponsor us. But yeah, so that's how I do it.
So one of the things you mentioned there, why are you moving away from Twitter video?
So because when you watch a video on Twitter, you can't exit and do something at the same time. Nobody wants to be on this phone and watch a morning show for an hour and a half like this.
Right.
People are down. If they're going to watch video, they're going to watch here on the computer.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm going to give people this the option to do audio on Twitter and video on Twitch and YouTube. Also, there's live comments and everything. Whereas like Twitter right now, the video is actually using Periscope. If you remember Periscope live audio back then, it's still the Periscope app, bro. And so it's like outdated.
It's funny you say that, because I've been like, I don't know what are your thoughts on since Elon took over Twitter? Like, what are your thoughts on Twitter from here? I'm super bullish as well. And like I keep on, and I've used this a couple times now as an example, is like, dude, like Twitter was the first like app to do like live video, right? With Periscope, where like, dude, Periscope was going viral, and then they're like, we're killing it. And like, I still don't know why.
I was all over that shit on Periscope when it first came out.
I mean, I'm sure, right? Because you could just literally just go, it's Instagram Live, right? It was the original Instagram Live. And then they had Vine, right? And then I don't know why they killed it, but I'm like, I'm like, dude, they have the tech. So at some point they're going to bring it back. And I do think, like, if I were to look at all the social media platforms out there right now, even if like Twitter wasn't like my biggest personal platform, I would be leaning into Twitter, because I'm like, dude, at some point they're going to bring video back. And I think like the issues that we have with broadcasting video on Twitter, like I think you're probably, and I think you're probably thinking the same way, where it's like, you're just going to be doing video on Twitter at some point. It's just not there quite yet.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we do like 1,500, 2,500 views a day on video alone, and then another 2,500 to a few thousand, depends on who's on audio. So it's really up my thing. And then, you know, it's been fun to do both. People love video. So, and like, we're really well set up and everything. So I'm going to go hard on like Twitch and YouTube content instead. We have YouTube shorts already that are starting to go out. So
are you going to be doing YouTube Live and Twitch simultaneously, or just Twitch?
I'm going to try. You're going to see me test a lot. Like, I'll let you know how my testing goes, but I'm going to start with Twitch. I'm going to try if I can do both at once. If not, I just do Twitch and then upload to YouTube. So we test so much behind the scenes and we watch what others do, but I think Twitch would be it. Like, I set up my Twitch account and everything, and I really like the way it goes. And I just like Twitch. Like, it's something about it. And it's a platform that's also very easy to work with and partner with in terms of like general media, because they're pretty out there. So I feel like it could be the one to really partner with. But look, I want to do it on Twitter. Like, if you ask me, I want to do it on Twitter. It's just like, it's not good enough right now. Like, it's not coming out well. So I'd rather say, because I like, let's say I'm on Twitch, I can see the comments, everything. On Twitter, you can't. You know, I don't want to give people also doing audio and video on Twitter at the same time is like stupid, right? It's like, I feel like I'm wasting it because I'm like dividing people on the same platform.
Right. Well, that's like, I mean, it's funny. I feel like we're just talking about like a lot of these things that we think about is like, you don't necessarily want to divide your audience that much, right? And so like, you want to make it like, I would love to have my entire, let's say, like funnel of people that like care about my shit on one platform, right? And it's like, it becomes super interesting. Like, so are you thinking of doing like token gated content where it's like maybe the video and like maybe interaction and comments, like it's like a token gated channel to like Rug Genesis holders or something? Or no?
I mean, we could go down that path. I just don't, not for now. I personally, it's funny, it's a conversation I was having in Paris with Raul about, because he has Real Vision, but I personally not a fan of token gated content. I'm a fan of token gated add-ons, right? So like, our rewards program is like token gated. Like, you can't just like be part of the Rogue Reader rewards program and earn Rug token and listening unless you're a holder, right? But like, for me, like, access to information and education should be democratized in our space, because we're not at mass adoption at all. So it's like, if I token gated on top of that, I feel like I'm causing friction, where if my goal is truly to educate the masses with my morning show, for example, let's give it to everyone. Like, it's on Spotify, it's everywhere. And then the layer I'm building on top of it, which is the rewards system, that's token gated. But I think a lot of people are doing token gating content with regards to like different access. Like, that's actually a good idea. Like, oh, hey, we do audio only, but like, if you want the video experience, you need an NFT. You know what? That's actually a very smart idea. So if I were to do token gated, it would probably be down that route, but I'd need to set up another layer and all that, and it's tough. You know how tough it is.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, tech integrations take so long. So where you're like, oh yeah, like I want to roll this out by the end of this week. And it's like, well, it's not going to be ready technically for like another week or two. So I totally get it. And it's funny, like the token gating stuff, we talk about it a lot internally in terms of like, there's some conversations that are like, I want it to be more intimate. So it's like, yeah, let's just do that in the Discord.
I like that. With
people that have token gated access to it. And then there's some things where it's like, all right, let's do this on a Twitter space. And then there's obviously like the podcast. So it's like, I'm asking these questions because like if I have a weekly podcast and I'm thinking about this, you have a daily show like with multiple shows under your banner. Like you must be you think you eat.
We should check out Rect Radio, right? So if you're like Ovi and Keyboard Monkey, and so they host Rect Radio under the Rug Radio umbrella. So we produce the show, and so it's a weekly show, more down your alleyway, right? Mm-hmm. Which weekly guest. And they're doing video and audio at the same time, moving it like those two shows are going to move together. So to Twitch, whatnot, we're testing together, but and there's no token gating or whatever. But in order to get access to certain things, they add token gating. So you can play a lot with all this stuff. I like the idea of your intimate, like admit one only convos sometimes. But I feel like, what the problem is? Well, problem is like, Spaces has democratized access to people and Twitter. That's why we love Twitter, right? Access to people and info so much that it's like, back then I could say I'm token gating a convo with gmoney, right? But now like you can hop onto anyone's space like that. So it's like I'd be token gating a conversation that you probably go and have, I don't know, let's say you're gmoney, right? So you probably get on a lot of shows if you wanted to, like you could go on, right? So let's say I had Raul Pal, I just named him, so I'll name him again, but like he's a big dog, right? So when he comes on the morning show and does numbers, could token gate it, but then again, like I kind of want everyone to have access to what he's saying, right? Because they already do on Twitter. So that's the only way I see it. But when I had my conversation with him, because obviously Real Vision is like token gated and you have subscription model, which is working and very successful with it. But he was telling me, he's like, well, I think it's the extra content. So he has a similar mindset as what you're saying. It's like not all content should be token gated, but it's the extra. Like the things you add on top and the cuts and whatnot, which, like that could make sense for some people in their model.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like we're just so early, so there's going to be like a plethora. Like the model that works probably hasn't even been figured out yet, right? No. Like the same thing with the internet, right? Like what worked in like 2001, like didn't work in 2010, right? Probably didn't even work by 2005. So I think that's super interesting, and like thank you for letting me pick your brain, because I'm sure I'm not the only person that's thinking about this, because I know like a lot of people do Twitter Spaces and video, and everybody has their channel, right, of like how they're trying to own their content. And so I think that is really, really helpful, getting it from
the media in the space is growing like crazy. Like it's just fun to see like how everyone's testing and just learn from people's tests, through rewards. You've mastered POAPs with your t-shirts and everything. We see that a lot on Spaces. There's the token gating on the Real Vision side. There's just so many ways to do it, in my opinion. There's no right or wrong way. I think every community is different. I'm just more of the vision that Rug Radio to me has to be I can't claim to be wanting to build something decentralized and for everyone to be partaking in, and then say, hey, like we're token gating the education, right? Like it would be like, for us, it's like a counter brand type of thing, right? But for someone like you, like on a more niche, dude, like totally makes sense.
Right, because it's like also it's like part of that, right, is like especially with like Admit One is like you get access to a Discord where like I'm active in it, right? Like that's literally like one of the only Discords that I'm active in. Like we're in a bunch of Telegram chats together where like we'll hop in whatever throughout the days or whatever.
You only have time for one.
Like, yeah, but it's like I can't sit there and be like 10 Discords, right? So
no,
that to me has been like kind of like my way about it. But I want to the what?
I wish I had time. Like even me, like the only, like I'm in a lot of Discords to support, like I'm in the DGens Discord, I'm in the Fuo Discord, I'm in a few Discords, but like the one, like if I'm going to make time every day to go on one Discord, it's Rug Radio.
Right. Yeah. And that makes total sense, right? It's your project. Yeah. So, So I want to get into, before we start talking about this drop itself, let's talk about Rug Radio, why, like how it came about. Right? Because I think you were hosting a ton of spaces. How were you ultimately like, okay, I want to start it this way? How you ended up, linking up with Mando and OSF, and then like everything that's kind of, how you actually formed like the DAO and everything that you're working on. Because like, even like admittedly, like we've spoken about it a couple times, And like sometimes I'm confused, so I'm probably gonna be just asking total noob questions. So I hope people understand everything that you're building.
I love that. No, it's great. Especially, it's really even better now to explain it now that there's actually meat on the bone, right? A year
Right?
later, because
Yeah,
it
yeah.
makes more sense. Because early on when I called you, before it launched, it's like an idea, but there's nothing to say like, there's this, there's that. Now it's like, look at all these things are there and I can explain it better. But yeah, I mean, the idea came about, like I've been doing social media forever, as long as I can remember. I was just a kid. Still am, but we're a kid. And then,
A kid with a beard
yeah,
and great long hair now.
and yeah, exactly. Everlasting long hair that just keeps on growing, dude, like
Yeah.
nonstop. But knock on wood, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But basically, the whole backstory of like I got into social media. I was doing my social. I had an agency, marketing, branding for like 8 years, and I was most on Instagram. Fast forward, I found out about Clubhouse. I hit this whole stride where I found out about NFTs on Clubhouse in February of 2021. Went all in like the second I found out about it, fell in love with it, and then a few months later, here I was, September 2021. I had built maybe an audience of 100,000 followers organically on Twitter. Like I had 0 followers on Twitter at first. And then I was hosting all these rooms, right? I was just in spaces. Like I wasn't like a talk show host or like I didn't have a organization. It was like, let me just host everything, like from the big names, like the big celebrities and whatnot entering the space, like the Aokis of this world, right? Mutual friend, and to like the Fuos of this world, the Corys of this world, Fuck Render, Victor Mascara, all the biggest artists, people, like all of that. So I was really like trying to build this bridge between Web2 and Web3 by just like giving them a voice and just trying to like get the whole community together, but also hosting important conversations around Web3. Because just like you, selfishly, I don't know it all. I don't know everything, nor and even less before. So I would just host people to learn. Like,
Right.
hey, I don't understand this DeFi thing. Let me just host the number one, right? Because I have the reach. So let me try and get the best person to talk about it, right? I don't know how this works. Let me get the person on. So I would just ask questions. And so one of these nights was these days was Sunday. I think it was a Saturday or I forget, but September 19th, 2021. I was on Spaces for 10 hours and we kept getting rugged because you remember like the space used to cut and we get kicked out of the room. Fucking the phone would like overheat and whatnot. And then like I called it rug radio because I kept getting rugged and back. And I was like, let me call this rug radio because it's like a radio. Like we're making radio cool again with Spaces, right? Which is super dope. And then and I was like, wait, I've been studying this like NFT and decentralization and crypto thing all year, like 12 hours a day. I'm already like, deep, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I've already been in media. And someone in my Discord's like, too bad I have to go to bed and not listen to this life-changing conversation, which it was. I have to go back to my $11 an hour job tomorrow. And I'm like, wait, is there a way through all these things that I don't really understand, but I understand the concept, but just not the nitty gritty, to build this like ecosystem that we all have an ownership in, or at least a say in, right? Where participants are rewarded for participating. And by participants, I mean consumers, right? The listeners that you have down there. And then myself and the people on stage, the creators, are rewarded for creating. Because I had been building platforms of millions, tens of millions of followers on other platforms for 10 years before. I never got anything out of it. I only made money because I built a business out of what I was doing, but not like the platform didn't ever reward me directly, Instagram,
Right.
Tumblr,
Right.
or Twitter before. And so that's where Rug Radio came about. And then, Mel was like, hey, we'll build a tokenomic structure, dual token. It'll be governed by DAO. You have the Rug token, which is the utility token, which you yield every day through the NFTs. So you have the Genesis NFT, the Rugs, gets the token every day. Once you accumulate enough token, you swap it for one Rug DAO token. So 1,800 Rug is one R DAO token. And what does the DAO token do is, it's governance, but actual intentional governance, and hence the dual token structure, right? Because if you airdrop governance to people, they don't really care, right? You've seen it, like ApeCoin,
Right.
ENS. They're great tokens. They have a great vision, but they don't get a lot of voting, right? Because people don't care. But when you have dual token structure, well, it's clear. There's a utility token and there's a governance token, which is intentional governance. And now we have about 30% of holders vote. It's actually insane stats. So that's kind of how the setup is, right? It's governed by DAO. We're like a full-blown like Cayman Foundation as of December 20th last year. And we're really trying to build a decentralized media ecosystem out in the open where, we're a tech platform when you think about it. The product is media. And all the different creators are their own IPs and different platform. And at the end of the day, they bring value back to the Rug networks or Rug Radio, which manage to redistribute that value back into the creators and thus the participants through the token and the whole rewards program on top of it.
Okay, cool. So 2 questions I have off the top. One is why the dual token structure? right? So it's like, if you own the Genesis NFT, you get the rug tokens, and then, so why make it a conversion, and why not just have it be like whatever you get from as the distribution is, I don't know if distribution is the right term, whatever you get from the NFT, why not have that be the governance token? Just curious.
Because what the utility token, right? The rug token, there's going to be 255 million tokens over 5 years. That's how the slow rollouts. It's been a year or something, maybe 40, 50 mil now. That's yielded through the NFTs. But the problem with that is we've seen in the past, I think Vitalik wrote about that, governance tokens being airdropped to people, about how people don't actually care about governing. And I'm actually trying to prove that we can build a successful NFT project with a successful DAO. And you know that DAOs are getting a lot of criticism over time, right? A lot of people just don't believe in them. There's been some successful cases of DAOs, in my opinion, but we haven't had yet like this proper brand company or whatever that has been built within our NFT space. Not talking about broader crypto and DeFi space, right? Yeah. Just this space that has shown that you can actually build a DAO, a successful DAO, right? And will people care enough to vote and govern? So the reason for Dual is that one 1,800 rug token is one rug DAO token. It takes like, so if there's 5, you yield 5 rug token per day. Let me do the math real quick. It takes a year. We did that way, 360 days. So it takes 1 year to yield enough rug token to have a DAO token. So what do you think the person that converts to that does? They actually care, right? Because it took them a year to yield it. So they care to govern. And so we've seen that happen with our governance proposals and everything, because we actually do everything in a transparent, our budget proposal, creator proposals, everything is through. People actually care to come and vote and meet those quorums. So that's why, like, there's one token that's strictly for utility, like minting the PFP, right? That's happening right now. We've already sunk 7.5 million rug token over in 24 hours. Not even 24 hours. It's been less, like 21 hours. Well, I'm sure we'll get to that. And whatnot, or the rug store that we got coming, which is up next. We're getting ahead of the PFP first, and then we'll do that, where you're going to be able to, trade things for rug token, like whatever. Even you could put something on there, like we could be admit one partners, let's say, and you can say for X amount of rug token, you get, I don't know, a one-on-one with gmoney. I'm just using an example,
right,
like
yeah.
Whatever it is. And then the DAO token is strictly to focus on voting and governance. And we think that, it's rug is built to last forever. So let's say the day there's $100 million in that treasury, right? Let's say the day we have $500 million in that treasury. It's also a good way to protect it and to protect the lasting nature of the ecosystem. Because with tokens, you could swing votes just like that, right? You've seen it happen on ApeCoin. Actually, it's happened many times.
We're watching it on Uniswap right now, right?
Right. You're seeing it happen, right? But you can't do that if there's a dual token structure, because it adds a certain layer on top of that, and there's not enough rug token in the ecosystem out there yet to be able to even to do something like that, because you can't even find enough rug tokens in order to swap them and destroy the balance of the DAO. So it's really from a protective and like intentional point of view that we opted for dual structure. At first, heavily people were not sure about it. A year in, people are telling us it was actually the right way to approach it. And when I saw something Vitaly was talking about, it's the Decrypt folks that brought that to my attention, because they asked me about that on their show. Vitalik apparently is not a fan of like these governance token airdrops, and is much more of a fan of the dual system. So I think this is the right way to do it. So far, it's been very successful at Rug Radio.
Right. No, I think that's really interesting. So then the DAO tokens, the governance tokens, so when you talk about value accrual of the network, right? The value accrual of the network goes to the governance token, right? And the utility token, for all intents and purposes, doesn't have like a treasury or whatever have you, right?
So the Rug DAO has a treasury on chain.
Okay.
And in that treasury, we have something like, I don't know, 1,400 ETH and a bunch of USDC. I'd have to check because I don't want to just throw fake numbers here, but it's all public on our wiki. And so basically, everything goes into the Rug DAO. Absolutely everything. So even after this drop, it goes to Cory and the Rug DAO, and the secondary royalties and whatnot. And then we have a partnership model for our creators to be able to monetize and also make sure the network keeps getting value and whatnot. So yeah, it's everything goes back into the network.
Okay, so then how does that work? Let's talk about the network, right? So how, like, let's say I'm gmoney and I want to have a show on the Rug Radio network. How does that work? What is that process like, right? Because I'm sure there has to be some sort of curation process. And what is that like today if like somebody wants to start a show on the network?
Yeah, so the beautiful thing is we just launched most recently a 5-tier creator system, which means that you have creators from tier 1 all the way to tier 5 being like myself, Mando and OSF, we're tier 5 creators at Rug Radio. Keyboard Monkey is a tier 5 creator at Rug Radio. Our Chinese show, Ben. So we have maybe like 10, 12, 15 creators that are tier 5. And basically, it's a tier model that people have to work their ways up to. So tier 1 is mostly, okay, we're giving you a shot. Let's see what you can do on your own and how serious you are about consistency with your show, right? And then tier 1, you get like it's all out there, so I'd have to pull it up for you. But let's say, and also like I have a head of creators and the whole creator team that's working all that, so I don't have it from the top of my head here. And I would
But
love.
I guess like so like ballpark, right? Like so let's say I'm a tier 1 creator, I come in. I assume that like profit share is probably lower, right? Kind of like your typical
Correct.
like model where it's like, okay, you come in, you
I
prove
found
yourself over time, and then you start moving up. Okay.
Yeah, so basically, like, tier 1 is like you get access to the full creator education program that we're building right now with like teachers and everything. It's actually super sick. Like, we have a whole onboarding program where it's like people like to go and sell that out. Like, for us, it's for our creators, and we're doing it for all of them. And so it's a whole program where like, we give them the tools and the education on how to become a creator. So that's very like beginner level.
Entry level.
And you make it to casual creator, right? And access to the tools. You get paid in rug token per our original tokenomic model for hosting, and you get a bonus every 3 months for your consistency. You have like systems in place to follow in order to keep make it up the tier system. And then we get a monthly creator call, which we had just this past weekend. It was awesome, like 50 creators every month on the Saturday. And then access to creator community. Then you have tier 3, and you add things to this, right? And then tier 4. And tier 4 is like, there's a bunch of bucket list of things we do for them, from like quarterly coaching strategies. We do their audiograms, like all the little clips you see with the audiograms and stuff. We do that for them. We put them on our website. If we have like, we get asked to talk in a lot of different events. Sometimes I can't go. We set our creators there, or like if Rug Radio does an event, I always prioritize like our own creators to be on the stage, right? Because that's how it should be. Yada, yada, yada. So really, really help them. We do their graphic design. And then tier 5 is a star model. So this is more like handpicked. As of 2 weeks ago, it's actually I'm the one in charge of the whole tier 5 system, which means you work with me. So it's like really like I'm trying to build this like team of like dope creators, like top tier creators that like we can really help like build shows around them, monetize their shows, get sponsorships, revenue to them, and also like really build a team around them. For example, the morning show is always the guinea pig on anything you do, right? So you've seen the growth of the morning show. It went from just being this like Twitter space to an actual talk show that's produced, syndicated across all platforms. There's a producer working on it, and there's a partnerships team closing partnerships and sponsors for the year on that as well. But also on top of that, we're trying to get us to go around the world. We're media partners for Paris. We're media partners in Lisbon. We're media partners for a few different events across the globe this year alone. So the Start Tier program is really like how it starts. So it really depends. So for now, like we've closed it all completely because there's already 50 creators, and we're working on the creator education program. But it's going to open soon, where it's going to be a bunch of tier 1s who can come in. And tier 5 is mostly handpicked. So like someone like you already have an established podcast, let's say, and whatnot. You come within, let's say, the tier 5 creator program. Well, we'll set you up with a producer. We'll set you up with the graphics you need. We'll set you up with a post. We'll set you up with syndication across Spotify, Apple, YouTube, whatever it is. And on top of that, we'll help tap in some sponsors on that, because of course, like we get so many sponsorship opportunities, mostly because of my personal brand, which is pretty big out there. But then I bring it home, and then we have this whole network of shows, which is really cool and allows us to work with some of the biggest names in crypto.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank you for explaining that, because I feel like that was very clear. And I know I go through the same thing with 90cc, right? Where you're working on so many things and you're pushing so many boundaries that sometimes it's like, well, what do I focus on, right? And it's like, and that's why like a lot of times too is like I kind of cater my pitch to who I'm talking to, right? Like if you're a finance person, I'm going to focus on the finance side of things. And so I really appreciate you taking that time, because that makes a lot more sense in terms of like, okay, if I'm starting out and I want to get into this network, like how does it, so then like if I'm starting out and let's say I'm not gmoney and I'm just like, John Doe, and how do I get accepted into like the tier 1, 2, or 3 or whatever? How does that work?
We used to have an open list, and we're going to put this whole thing where we're going to reopen it soon. We're almost ready for more. It's just at first we had to clean house a lot and make it clear. Like you're saying, it's clear because it took us like 3 months to like clean up and make it really clear. And it's just
When you say clean up, you mean like get rid of like hosts that like
well, because when we launched big,
right.
and it was like a lot of people, and then you have to go back and clean as restructure. So some hosts weren't hosting this and that. We just finally were this morning. It was so happy to deploy that a retroactive payment for all the hosts that have been hosting on the Rug Radio for the last year. So we had to really clean house and rebuild a lot of different things and tools in order to really be able to help them. I've also grown the team from like 3 people in the bear market, like 15 full-time and part-time members of the core team of Rug Radio. So that's what I mean by clean house. And now the beautiful thing is we're able to help all these creators. So let's say you're John Doe. There's usually a form. You go in. It's a pretty long form that because we want people who actually care about content. Because like if it's just someone who wants to come and host here and there and not do it, like it's not fair to the rest of the Rug Radio ecosystem, nor the creators that deserve to have a chance to shine, right? So that's how you gauge if they're serious. That's why the first tier is like we literally do nothing for them in terms of like we give them the education program, which is already something, so it's not nothing. But then we see if they can actually have the consistency. Then you make it to tier 2. Then you graduate to tier 3 and 4. And for example, last week I just promoted 2 people from tier 4 to tier 5 to come and work with me under my wing because Ben from Audio Galleries created this entire model through art and whatnot to get a lot of interest towards his show, Audio Galleries. And he's partnered with Bueno. He's partnered with Super Rare. He's doing a bunch of stuff. And he's been hosting on the Rug Radio umbrella for like 8 months every week. And now I can see he's doing numbers. Went from 5 listeners per show to he pulled 1,500 last time, right? So things like that. Or Daniel, our Chinese creator.
So I'm looking at, sorry to interrupt you. I'm looking at your schedule right now. Who were those 2 creators that you just pulled up from 4 to 5? Or can you share that yet or no?
Yeah. Okay, it's the NFT 101, Ben.
Okay. When is his show?
I think it's Thursday. It's
Thursday.
Is it Thursday?
I'm just
we have so many creators I lose track of the
Okay.
What is it? Hold on. Where's the schedule? Do we have a calendar?
It's rug.fm/schedule. That's where I'm at right now.
Oh, you're there. Let me see. Sorry, we have like again lots of moving. The beautiful thing about radio now is gotten so big that I can't even keep up with everything.
I mean that's a high quality problem.
I don't think this one's up to date, or maybe it is.
Okay.
Sorry, we have a schedule that goes out every morning. That's why it's easier on the Twitter account. But it's in our wiki. We have our creators. Let me get it for you. If you go to wiki.rug.fm, it's like a Bible we've built for Rug Radio. It's fire. Yeah. Dude, it's so good. And we update it all the time.
All right, cool.
Dude, this is the Rug Radio Bible.
Okay. All right, so then let me see if I can find Ben.
There you go. The NFT 101 audio. I think call it audio. There you go. 3 p.m. on Sunday.
3 p.m. on Sunday. Wow. Okay, cool. 3 p.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah. Ooh. He's from the UK too, so it's like 8 p.m. for him. And then Daniel, which is OX Daniel, Gem. Why is it not? It's on here. It's called. What's the name of the call? I forget the name of the show. See, they didn't update all of them there because there's more shows now. But anyways, Daniel. So OX Daniel. Basically, he's been hosting a show in Mandarin twice a week. He gets 300 listeners live on Space all the time, but he gets 5,000 to 10,000 live listeners every show on Binance Live at the same time.
Wow.
So they get broadcasted there, and so he's opening the entire Rug Radio China vertical. So we're opening the Discord in Chinese. We're opening a whole the Rug Radio is going to go full Chinese in the next coming weeks. I already announced that last week. So he's a tier 5.
So you're learning Chinese?
Exactly. I'm going to be learning Mandarin, and I wish I was on the show last Friday, and they were like they were interviewing me in English, and they were doing this like translation thing, and they had like the head of the Azuki Chinese community, head of like a bunch of different communities come on, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, like it's examples like this. It's like people have been grinding it. Like the guy's been hosting for like 6 to 8 months now, twice a week, pulling big numbers, and he already has interest from sponsors. So now I can see like, okay, now we can tap in like into the Rug Radio brand even more and like try to really explore how we can grow there. And I'm doing similarly with a bunch of creators across different places of the world, because I like to think we got this part of the world kind of like on deck and on log, especially on Twitter. Now I want to expand elsewhere, right? We don't need to like, grow like taller, I guess. We'll go
wider, right. Get more breadth in your terms of your offering. Okay, that makes sense. It's interesting because like I had a member of A1 is like part of, I guess, like the Chinese CryptoPunk network, right? And so then he asked to do a Twitter Spaces in China. So like I think it was like I had to wake up at like I think 8 a.m. or 7
Yeah,
a.m.
I was on at 8 a.m.
Yeah, to do it on their like whatever's a good time for them.
You should do it at some point. Tell him.
Dude, it was great. It was really awesome because like it was the same thing, right? They were asking me questions in English, they would translate it into Chinese, and like I'm like, wow, I'm like I didn't even realize like this is a whole segment of the internet that like I'm not talking to, right?
That's the
yeah.
thing, bro. That's why now I co-host a show in French, right? Because first of all, I'm French. And then like there's a whole segment there. Southeast Asia is a massive market. I mean, it's always been for crypto.
Yeah.
You've been in crypto forever. But like for NFTs, like you see Azuki and their brand, the way they're growing out there is beyond, right? And why focus on just an American centric market? That's beyond me. Especially if we're media. We're not even an IP company where like you have to be tied to a penguin or ape or a cat and whatnot, and which is nothing wrong with that. But you're just like us. You're in a category that like we can cater to anyone. Right? Like I can cater to like gaming. Gaming has like unlimited potential to tap into, but not everybody wants to game. I don't like gaming, but guess what? Every single person consumes content on social media today. And that's where Rug Radio comes in. That's all it is. So it's like the upside in terms of how many people I can reach is unlimited. So you're talking about this PFP. People are like, aren't you scared if we mint out 20,000? I'm like, no, because apes, punks, cats, these communities, they're limited in like how many people they can reach or they want to reach, right? And also like it's like they're trying to become valuable goods in terms of IP and collectibles. We're not a collectible. We're a media brand. Like the Cory Van Lew PFP is not a collectible. Yes, it is a collectible asset that people will be trading on the free market, but it's not a collectible project. It's the faces of one of the largest media brands in the space. So I think we can tap into anyone.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. How did this come about, right? Like I know you're tight with Cory, so how did the idea for a PFP project? Because I think I heard you talking about it. Oh man, was it yesterday? I saw it somewhere where it kind of like you didn't necessarily want to do a PFP project, and I understand where you're coming from because I'm very much in that camp. Where I'm like, I don't want to do a PFP project. I want to dress your PFPs. I don't want to be your PFP personally, right? That's what I want to do with 90cc. So what made you change your mind? And, what was that process working with Cory?
Yeah, I mean, the process has been incredible. And by the way, you should totally watch that video that Jan Silva and his crew made with Nello. It's like a 5-minute video. It's beautiful. But basically, I mean, I did not want to do a PFP. And it's funny because Decrypt Media picked up on that and made an article on Sunday. But we launched Rug Radio in the form of banners because Rug Radio was always meant to be the house for everybody. So whether you're ape, a cat, a punk, or whatever animal you want to be or whatever cool AI PFP you are.
So I will say this. It's funny you did that because I remember maybe 2 or 3 months before that, I was talking to my team about how I wanted to do a banner project.
Yeah,
because I was like, everybody's competing for PFPs. Why the fuck do I want to do a PFP? Like, I want to be like, rep me with your banner, right? Not with your PFP. So
also,
like, when you did that, I'm like, motherfucker. I'm like, Farokh beat me to it. I'm like, I got to move faster. So I think that was a genius idea.
And Persian rugs, like they're rugs, right?
Yeah. I mean, it fits right in, your Persian.
And so I was happy with my punk and everything. And I didn't want to make people switch their PFP because I wanted to be the house of everyone. And PFPs become tribal. And first of all, we're not a PFP project. We're not a PFP brand. We're Rug Radio. We're a media ecosystem. So I didn't want to be like put into a bucket with everybody else, right? And so that's like my pet peeve. And so we launched like that. And I also wanted to show people that, you know what? Maybe one day I'll do a PFP, but it's after I'm accomplished and after we've built a brand. And so now, fast forward months later, I'm building Rug Radio, restructuring, rebuilding, totally 180 the brand. We're doing really well. And I'm like, wait, now I think it's time to start working on a PFP project because I know it's going to take a long time. But if I start now, by the time the PFP is ready, we'll be popping. And so I called Cory up 6 months ago. 6 months ago. And I was like, yo, would you ever think about doing a PFP project? He's like, maybe. And I'm like, you want to do one with me? He's like, honestly, I would because I don't want to focus on utility. I don't want to be yelled at all day. I hate it, but I would do it with you if you focus on all the utility part. Speaking of the devil, we have a surprise for you, G.
Yeah, what's up, Cory? What's up? How are you? That was like perfectly timed. That was perfectly timed. Lisa, was that you? That was you in the background? I love it. Cory, what's up?
How you doing, man? Had to crash the party. You know what's up?
Hell yeah.
Dude, what's up? Yo, thanks for hopping on, man. I haven't seen. Well, I saw you for a 2nd at Art Basel.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, and by the way, I was right in front of your. I don't even know what they were, like the cityscapes.
Yeah,
right. That you had on
I
the
stopped by
Faces,
your booth.
like.
You weren't there though.
Yeah, no, I mean next time I'm in Miami.
Yeah, of course.
Next time I'm in Miami, I see you guys been having a bass out there, so
yeah.
I'm definitely getting that FOMO.
Yeah, I've been grinding. Ever since that weekend, I've been grinding. Been locked in the studio.
It's funny, Cory. G was just asking me how it all came about, so I told him about the call 6 months ago, and ever since we're like, let's do it together. I mean, Cory and I've been homies since the day we got into NFTs. He got into end 2020. I got into early 2021. We met. And it's like, I met him with Fuo, and you know how tight I am with Fuo. I met him same time I met you. We're tight, like it's like the whole like crew that I met early on, and we're really close. And so I was like, to me, G, Rug Radio is the voice of Web3, or at least one of them. And I needed someone to represent the faces of Web3. And there's nobody better, in my opinion, than Cory to truly like manage to paint someone in the space and give it a soul, a heart. And if you look at the PFPs, they've got so much emotion, they've got so much character. And so it was just perfect. To me, it was match made in heaven. And so he said yes. We had a weekly meeting, stand up, 12:30 Eastern Standard Time every single Tuesday. We had it every single Tuesday up until Art Basel. We saw it at Art Basel, and that's when I knew we're like, okay, we're good. I went back. I didn't bother Cory for 2 months, and then hired the Animus team and said, let's go. I'm coming. Let's push this through, and let's put it through a finish line. And, we're in the middle of it right now. We're 24 hours in. There's almost 12,000 PFPs that have been minted using the Rug token.
So let's talk about that for a second. So how's the minting process work in terms of like allow lists and phases and stuff like that? It's just so who's allowed to mint right now? Actually, I think by the time this airs, it's going to be Thursday or Friday.
Friday, I think you air, right?
By Friday, yeah. And so, like, what's that process looking like? Because obviously you haven't sold out because you're throttling the demand so that people have time. So, what's the process like? If like somebody wants to go out and mint it right now.
So Monday to Wednesday, so we're Tuesday now, is a 48-hour allow list period for Genesis holders. So if you're a Rug Radio holder, you can mint 1 PFP for 690 Rug. So that's the price in Rug token, but you've yielded that by now, which is dope. We actually did the math so that you have enough to have 1 RDAO and 1 PFP by now if you've held since mint. And 42% of our holders have been holding since mint, which is insane.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
insane stat. 72% over 6 months. And so yeah, we have really like a solid holder base. Shout out to them because they really believe in the brand. And so that's this period. Plus Cory Van Lew, one of our holders, 5 PFPs free each. And then we did a snapshot on December 27th. So our Rug DAO holders get 1 free PFP per wallet to thank them for being the most important people of the ecosystem. I mean, they're voters. And then the creators, so 50 of them, and then my core team is like 12 people got a PFP each. And then on Wednesday, depending on how many are minted, so now we're at 11.5K.
Wait, so let me ask that. So there's 20,000 Genesis NFTs,
Max.
right? So
Yeah.
I can't go out there. If I were go out there and buy one off the floor right now, it might have already minted
Correct.
the profile. Is there a place where I
Yes.
can go to check that?
So if you go on rug.fm on our website, and if you go to
Yeah.
Mint Now, there's a syndicate dashboard. It's right there. It says like, click check if a Genesis NFT is eligible, and you just put the ID in.
Okay, cool.
So
I'll
but
check
usually the
that out
floor
after.
ones are not. No.
Right. I
She's
assume
like,
the
I gotta
floor ones are
go.
definitely
I'm
not.
about to go check it.
No, I mean, I was. It's funny because I was waiting to have this conversation because I was gonna hit up Farokh. All right, I mean, I anything from you guys is definitely gonna be exciting. But okay, so then now let's say after Wednesday, period's over. Then what happens?
So what happens is Cory, myself, and Mando, we get on a quick call, logs, and we say, this is what we want final supply to be, right? It could be 20K hard cap. It could end up at 16,969. It could, we'll decide the cap.
So you haven't decided what the cap is
No,
yet?
the hard cap is 20.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's
All
the
right,
hard cap.
Okay, so it could be any number between right now between
And 20K.
11,000 and change and 20K.
Correct.
Okay.
And so,
Alright, cool.
and as soon as that's done, we say, okay, and then we'll go in an allow list phase for like half a day. We're going to allow list a bunch of communities that we love, including yours, by the way. We're definitely allow list to submit one, but in the form of a raffle, which means like we can't give too many. So it'll be, because my goal is that with Cory, want to give it to a ton of communities, also a bunch of unrepresented communities in the space. And it's going to be a mint in ETH for very, very small amount of ETH. We're keeping it mad fair. And then after that second wave, which would probably be like Thursday to Friday, so it would end around this time where this airs. On the Saturday, we were thinking with the Syndicate DAO team and everyone, depending on how many units are left, if we want to, we just go on the like public mint, one per wallet, degen type, like, hey, like first come, first serve. We did that with Rug Radio Genesis NFTs last year. There was 1,300 left, and we just went, and it sold in 80 seconds because it was one per wallet, so super clean with low gas. And that's what we would do. And then, you know, we go into reveal like Monday or something, you know?
Oh, nice. That's sick. Yeah, I was looking at the floors of like the unrevealed. I'm like, so here's a question in terms of alpha, right? What is it? Do you think it's better to buy a Genesis NFT that hasn't minted yet, or to just buy a PFP? I kind of know where you're going to go.
The thing is, I don't know. No, it's because I genuinely don't know right now, because that's the degens who do all the mathematics behind that. And I'm sure if I ask my Discord, there's some community member that has a table ready.
That knows exactly. They're like, well, the EV of this is that.
Yeah, so I don't know the floor price right now on minted, but the thing is, our Genesis NFTs haven't dropped off that much. They kept getting swept off because the thing is, you don't want to sell that NFT because it's the only way to get Rug token. So it's like our Bored Ape. It's like our main NFT. It's like the first thing we minted. So it's going to have, it still has utility for the next 4 and something years to yield daily NFT token. It's the only way you can get it. And you're
right. So, and because I don't want to totally bogart the situation, because I was thinking about this too, is like, how can you buy our DAO? So let's say somebody's like, all right, I just want to be long Rug Radio, the governance tokens. Is there a way to get in that way or no?
You'd probably have to figure someone who wants to work with you OTC or something. That's what I've seen, but I don't know. We don't partake in any LPs and whatnot, even for the Rug token. Like, I'm sure the community is gonna like have some LPs set up. Well, I mean, the community has some stuff set up, but like, we don't point towards anything. The team has nothing to do with it, and you know, we can't. Right, cool. You know it. You know how it is. So
right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. I was all right. So basically, the Genesis token is the best way to get involved in the Rug Radio ecosystem. All right, cool.
Yeah, that makes if you want to have a governance, but then like the PFP is going to be the way to rep it, and is fully being like the PFP is fully being on board under the umbrella, which means PFP, Membership Pass, and Genesis all have access to rewards program. So like even if you're just rocking the Cory Van Lew PFP, you'll be able to like earn Rug token for like listening to the shows, performing different bounties and everything. So it's being fully on board under a thing. The way I see it is like the PFP is the flag, it's the badge, and the Genesis is your voting power. It's your citizenship within the Rug Radio eco, which is, if you look at it like a country, like DAOs to me are like, I have this whole theory about DAOs and countries and stuff. Like DAOs are like countries that are borderless, where everybody can participate, right? And so like it's like your citizenship. Right. And then you have the Cory PFP, which is like the flyest PFP since punks. And like, you know, and he's rocking with it. But, you know, he can give you more alpha and info on the PFP. So that's on him. This man's a legend.
Yeah. No, Cory, thanks for coming on. Yeah. What's the alpha on the PFPs? Well,
straight up.
Yes, just go. Let's go. Let's share it. You know,
that's for damn sure.
We're about to debut a trade on your show, bro.
Yeah. Actually,
let's do it. Let's do it. What we got?
Debut something here.
Can you share a screen on here?
I don't think I can.
Yeah. You can. There's the share button at the
bottom.
I
see it. I'm about to share my screen for a second. G Money. We're about to debut something. Let me see if it works out. Window. All right, G Money. So the reason why we had Cory crash this show today is because we wanted to debut a trait on air, and I think it's something you've been waiting for a minute.
Ooh.
Oh, it's the ape.
Oh, shit. There we go.
It's an ape with the beanie.
I love it. I love it. With some sick glasses.
That's a G Money.
I love it. Nice, dude. Finally, I remember when you were making all these PFPs for everyone. I was like, yo, can I get one? And I was like, dude, I know you've been like so busy, but dude, I fucking love it.
You know.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Really, something really special about this one is it's a green-haired ape with a beanie, and there's nothing like that in the collection. So,
dude, thank you so much.
Yeah, this is
The only one.
Special one for you.
Dude,
yeah.
I love it.
There you go.
Dude, this is sick. Dude, I'm gonna rock this as my PFP this week.
Yo, let's go!
Shout out.
I love it.
Yo!
I love it. I love
Hell
it.
yeah! Hell yeah!
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah! Nobody's seen the. Corey hit me up. He's like, "You realize that if I make gmoney in honorary, they're gonna see the ape?" Because him and Corey and I we didn't want to show ape trades until like.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? This airs Friday, so I guess it's fine if we reveal Monday that we show this on Friday. So just hold it back until Friday when you air. That's all we ask of you, but we'll send you that.
Okay, fair enough. Let me know when, or actually, I'll talk to Lisa when
your
throw
show
this
goes
on the
live.
air. When this show goes live, I'll make it my PFP.
Perfect.
And I'll
I'll
have
send
it up
you your
for
WhatsApp
a
right
couple of
now.
days. And like, for those that like don't realize, like, I like never change my PFP.
Never.
Like, I do it like I've done it maybe 2 or 3 times. So this is a big deal. So dude, thank you so much. This is dope.
That's why I love working with Corey, bro. That's why I love working with Corey. I mean, look at the details on that thing, right? Like, they're all traits that are going to be in the PFP collection, but Corey, like, specifically made them all to match for you, right? And that's what I love about this collection is, like, the detail and all the traits are dope, and everybody's going to be able to build an identity, which you were asking about the PFP stuff, G. I didn't want to do a PFP at all. But the more and more I'm seeing this come out, the more excited I am, because now people are going to build identity around a brand that they can relate to, right? Because all these PFPs coming out, not all of them have something behind the scenes or whatever. We have a lot rolling. So you're telling me that people that have been listening to my voice every single day for 2 years are finally going to be able to relate to the brand that they're listening to all these days and be able to build something around it. And to me, that's beautiful, man. Like, in its faces, right? And by the way, Corey, people are already saying like, yo, you got your faces? Like, I love the slang.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that, like,
get their own look going.
And it makes you want to switch your PFP because it's beautiful. And it's not like, I love animals. I love my punk. By the way, I swapped my punk for this, and you know, my last punk is like my punk. And like, and like, you know, it's like, it makes you want to be you. And that's what I love about this. So much emotions.
Right. No, that's awesome, dude. I mean, listen, this has been like so hyped. I've seen it. So many people talking about it on my timeline too, you know, and I'm like super excited for you guys. And Farokh, thank you for taking the time and explaining like everything that you're doing with Rug Radio. Cause I know personally, like from my experience, when you're doing so much shit, like there's like, you know, when you come on a show, there's only so much you can talk about, right? When you have like 10 minutes of time, it's like, well, what the fuck am I going to focus on?
I know.
So I appreciate you taking the time and talking about through the ecosystem so that people understand, okay, like, because I think that happens a lot too when people are like, oh, I missed the mint. And like, all right, well, how am I going to get in now? Right. And then, you know, people are just like, oh, I missed it. It's too late, whatever. So I think the fact that you're creating these ways for people to enter at where it's not like you have to be a whale in order to get involved, I think becomes like super important.
I agree.
So I appreciate you guys taking the time. And thank you so much for the PFP.
Yeah, of course.
Dude, let's go. We were so hyped about this. We were calling before the show. And so I have a text that was ready to go. And I'm like, come through. Let's go.
Oh, okay. I love it.
That's what I was texting.
Awesome.
I wasn't trying to be.
All right, that's awesome.
Like,
No,
that's what I was like texting. I was like, come now. And he just came through. And
Dude, that was perfect timing. For sure.
Yo,
Dude,
shout
that's
out to
great.
you, G. I'm so happy we did this. Mama made
Dude,
it.
so am I.
Finally on G Money.
Let's go.
Dude, you know what? You have yourself to blame though, man,
That's
because
true. That's
I
true.
would
That's
text you.
true.
I'll text you so much because like so for a little bit of background for everybody that's listening is so every time Farokh and I like meet up in real life, he's like, yo, I want to come on the show. I'm like, let's do it, you know? And like, I would like reach out to you to put you in touch with my producer. And then like, you don't respond. And then like, then the next time I see you, you're like, yo, I want to come on the show. I'm like, yo, I texted you and you didn't come on the show. So I'm glad if for nothing else, this was an amazing excuse for you guys to come on the show, showcase the cool shit that you're working on. Tell us a little bit about like everything that you're building. And like, I'm super excited for you guys. Excited to see what all you guys do next, right? Both from the artistic side and, you know, from the DAO side. So, dude, I wish you guys the best of luck. This thing is it's a success already, and it's gonna be an even bigger success. So, I'm looking forward to it for you guys. Happy.
Thank you, G.
And thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for having
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it.
And thanks for everybody for listening. And I appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week.
Yes, sir.